We are live. We are live. Good evening, YouTube. It is Christmas and I am early because it's been a weekend. I am quite spent and I had the time. I was literally pacing back and forth, just waiting and waiting and waiting for 9 p.m. And I thought to myself, what is keeping me from starting early, right? So here we are. Let's discuss the astrology of the week ahead, the moon and how it may affect us. We have a full moon happening this Wednesday at essentially 30 past midnight Eastern Standard Time, right? So at the top of Wednesday. So you might see in social media people talking about how the moon is happening on Tuesday because essentially midnight for me is 9 p.m. of the previous day, right? For California. So it's happening Tuesday, Wednesday. It depends on where you are in the world, obviously. And so we're ending the day with a full moon. It is so thematic, so on brand with the idea of old year, old me, release, let go, and new year, new me, right? And what I love about ending the year with a full moon is that the next month you have the new moon first and then the full moon. Now, is there any reason why I prefer that combination as opposed to a month, right? Like January with a full moon first and then a new moon? No, it's just that the new moon starts a brand new lunar cycle. The full moon ends the lunar cycle. And so I like the idea, like, I don't know, like my brain math computes easier and better that the month starting with the new moon just makes sense. So, us ending this week with a full moon means that next year we have every month with a new moon and then a full moon. And that's just dandy for me. If you're wondering, we're following my book, Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace 2023 manifestation agenda / journal. But the 2024 book is available now to order. You can order it in the link in the description of this video. There's a link, and in the link in my bio, you can order a signed copy of it. So I will get it. I have it, and I will send it to you specifically, personally, gift wrapped and all that. But this is pretty much this episode right away, right now, is when you have to order it to get it in time for New Year's. So I'm excited. By next Monday, what? By next Moon Day, we're going to be on a new book. This is so exciting. I'm so grateful. I have to tell you, this day, this holiday, I've compared a lot of notes. I do this on the regular, right? I ask people, and I feel like at this point in my life and at this point in my journey as a coach and content creator, I've strategically positioned myself in a way that I get to ask people lots of questions, and it's all for research. And when I say that, it's not an excuse and it's not a lie. Some people might think that I do a lot more with this research than I actually do. But when I say I ask something just for research, what I'm really referring to is my own personal research. And that is a lot of processing and comparing notes. As a life coach, I have to abide by a standard of confidentiality. So I really don't discuss much of what my clients bring to the table, but I do like to ask questions outside of those sessions to other people in order to compare and contrast in my own head, right? In order to just further that, do we call it palette? Not really. Just to further the research, right? To further the knowledge. And all of that to say, I've commented with several of you, and if you're in the room, please say hello. Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays. And say hello in the chat. Let me know who's here. But what what the feeling has been for today, I feel like in anticipation to the holiday and specifically today, has been a lot of collective grief, not necessarily only because of the events that transpired in the last few, now probably 2 months, right? That we are affected by, especially the moms, right? Like it's just also painful. But yeah, everyone's affected, but also collective grief that is personal grief. The holidays will always bring that nostalgia. The holidays will always bring that feeling of awareness of the fact that things are different than they were. And we tend to kind of zombie it out throughout the year. We get focused on our work, we get focused on our projects, kids are focused on kids, right? And then the holidays come up and it's like, you know, I feel like it might transpire mentally something like, oh, the holidays are here. And then an instant nostalgia and memories of the previous Christmas. And then the stark contrast of how this year it may be totally different than last year. So if you have lost somebody, if you are grieving in any way, if you are just sad during this holiday season, I just want to really send my heart out to you and really emphasize that my heart is with you. I have been grieving deeply this holiday season, more so than previous holidays. It could be a combination of the personal grief plus the collective grief, right? It's just a lot of things. And kids really do grow up really fast, and it's just a lot of nostalgia in the air. And most importantly, you may be grieving this year more than other years because this may be the very first year where you allowed yourself to grieve and to feel that weight and to sit with it. In previous years, you maybe not, right? Maybe you didn't do that. There's lots of reasons why grief shows up the way it does and when it does. And the thing about grief that's also important for me to bring up is that Mercury is retrograde. And ending the year with a Mercury retrograde is nothing new. We have 4 Mercury retrogrades a year, essentially one every quarter. Oh, look how beautiful life turns out to be, right? The symmetry of that. So every quarter of the year, you have a chance to review. That's what Mercury retrograde is all about. Mercury governs your thought patterns, your beliefs, whatever inner dialogue you have going on, what you say yourself, how you express your thoughts and your feelings, all matter of communication. I'm talking email, texting, phone calls, anything that has to do with communication. So, like, if you're going to school for a master's in communication, your master's is governed by Mercury, right? And so, with Mercury retrograding, there's always the theme of reviewing. Now, what the review is going to be about is dependent on what sign Mercury is going to retrograde in. And so Mercury made its way from Sagittarius to Capricorn a few weeks ago. And it was in Capricorn very slow because it was getting ready to retrograde. So it kind of slows down for maybe a week or so, and then made its way back to Sagittarius. So, what are the themes that Sagittarius brings about? And then how are those themes present in our life, and then what can we review? So Sagittarius is that optimistic archer who has a mark, right? Because the archer is not going to let go of the arrow until he makes his mark. So goal oriented, optimism, vision, all of the things that are moving forward. Sagittarius is that fire that propels it forward. Now, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So that's why, with the idea of future visioning and setting a goal, there's also a context of expansion. Jupiter expands everything, negative or positive. There's an element of growth, right? If you expand, you're growing. And so all of those themes are being brought up. And if Mercury is retrograding, meaning you have to review some of those themes, then the question then becomes, how did my progress get stalled and when, and how can I go back to kind of fix it or kind of restart? What is the project that you just gave up on that now maybe you're feeling like you want to go back to it and reshape it? That's, I feel like, very Mercury retrograde coded, right? So those are some of the things happening right as we finish the year. And then we can't forget, aside from the astrology of the week and where the moon is all week, which we will discuss, the beautiful theme or the beautiful connotation of having a full moon right at the end of the year. This means that we are closing a cycle. So all matter of closing a chapter, closing a cycle, closing the door to move on. Radical acceptance, right? When you radically accept something, that means that you're ready to accept it, right? You see it, you identify it, you accept it, and then you move on from it, because what's next, right? And so all of those things are happening this week, and we're going to discuss all of it. And I know that I was early, but I'm grateful for you watching. And I have to say, I am so grateful for whoever sent pictures today. I got a few Merry Christmas. I got the book today, pictures, and it was just so beautiful. And I'm so grateful for you sponsoring, and supporting and showing up by buying the book. But I just have to emphasize that you buy this book for yourself. This is not a reading book. This is not a weekend book. This will hopefully become your companion for the rest of 2024. It is a daily time blocker where you get to time block every day on your own. So if you have a 8 o'clock appointment and then a 12 o'clock appointment and then lunch, like, you get to fill this in however, because for some of us, every day looks very different. And this is why I created this agenda the way that I did. Every day of the week has the planetary correspondence, so that you remember, so that you start learning what these magical things are all about. And then with the new moon and the full moon, you get your journal promptings and your space to write and paint. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so excited. It has been a miracle, honestly, to show up every moon day and to discuss all of these things, and to now finally do it for next year. It's a miracle to me. So thank you for that. And cheers to you with my Moon Magic and Mindfulness mug. I'm so grateful for you, and cheers to that. So let's kick this off. All right, so we are gathered here today to discuss the astrology of the week and where the moon is daily and how it affects us. We just came from a weekend of the moon in Gemini. The moon is still in Gemini today and tomorrow, and it shifts into Cancer literally between Tuesday and Wednesday. And so the full moon happens in Cancer, but we're not there yet. Gemini is all about family. Gemini is curious. Gemini is creative. Gemini is very talkative. Gemini is the life of the party. So all in all, how was your weekend? How were your family gatherings? How are you? A lot of my peers and clients and common friends and followers are neurodivergent, either neurodivergent ADHDers, most people in my family are, or highly sensitive empaths like myself, or even autistic. And so if you're listening and you're neurodivergent, I really want to know how you are, because all of the noise, all of the excitement, everybody talking at once. These things can be very draining. Whether you are an introvert or extrovert, if you are neurodivergent, these festivities might be very, what's the word? Overstimulating. And when we are overstimulated, we just feel uncomfortable. And the wonderful thing about the spectrum is that we all feel uncomfortable in different ways, right? So it's kind of very hard to connect with people about these things because I may get overstimulated and just get a headache, while another highly sensitive empath might be overstimulated and just feel exhausted, like tired, yawning all the time. So it just presents itself differently. And that's why I like to bring these questions up so that you can also do kind of like a mental review Mercury retrograde on your own, right? Most of the questions that I bring up are for you to just ponder so that you can get that um, future visioning going by presenting yourself with what's really happening and bringing your awareness to what you're doing and why and how, so that you can then strategize moving forward, right? That's what I love about this conversation and having it every week. So we're starting the week with the moon in Gemini. We move from there to Cancer. Remember, Cancer is the moon is at home in Cancer. So by Wednesday, having the moon in Cancer means all the feels, all of that grief might come to a head. So expect to be needy, right? Touchy feely, and probably craving for that nurturing or wanting to nurture others, which is usually how it presents itself for people with moon in cancers, right? Like myself. We want to just grab everyone in a giant group hug, and to have everyone eat their comfort food and to have everyone be comfortable, and ourselves, obviously, because emotions can be so draining and because emotions can be so intense. So this is happening right at the end of the year because by Wednesday, it's the 27th. So we have the moon happening then. If you're in the West Coast, then the full moon happens for you on Tuesday night. And then by Friday, the moon is in Leo. And we finish the year on a Sunday. What a beautiful ending to a year that ending on a Sunday to me feels like it's wrapped with a big bow, in the sense that we're going to come fresh with a new book and a brand new year on a moon day. And I'm just so excited. The way things just turn out, it's just so beautiful. So the moon in Leo, Friday and Saturday might be very intense as well. So we're going to talk about Leo for a second, and then we're going to go to the full moon questions from the book, the journaling questions. So Leo is the fire sign of fire signs. Fire signs are Aries, Sagittarius, and Leo. And so Leo wants to be recognized, but a lot of people tend to leave it at the superficial. Oh, Leo just wants all the attention. But Leo really wants the attention because Leo has put in the work of going through Cancer season and really evaluating feelings versus the reality of life versus confronting negative feelings and trying to figure out what this year is all about, right? That I'm talking about the summer Leo season in August, right? And so Leo does a lot of work, and Leo gets crowned when Leo reaches that sovereignty. So it's not just that Leo wants all the attention, is that a Leo that has put in the work absolutely deserves that crown and attention, right? And so, all in that to say, it's the end of the year. Everybody's emotions are heightened with the full moon. Everybody's emotions are heightened because it's the freaking holidays, right? Everybody's emotions are heightened because this is happening right before New Year's. And so if you're hosting a party by the 30th, which is Saturday with the full moon, with the moon still in Leo, starting to wane out of that full moon, um, everybody's tension is going to be high, right? And think about everybody's pride on the 100th degree. That just represents nobody's wrong, everybody's right in their own mind. So how would that reflect if it's a fire sign? Easy anger, road rage, right? And then all of these other planets play a part as well. Mercury retrograding, Mars in Scorpio, or Venus in Scorpio still. And so everything plays a part. So there's the potential for a lot of release this week. Old year, let's get out with the old, in with the new. Obviously, the end of the cycle. So let's release what doesn't serve us anymore. And I wonder if you would benefit from an example of what does it mean to release something that doesn't serve me anymore. So I would love to bring that up. I'm going to write a note about that so that I can bring it up on my content. An example, I'm writing this on my book, Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace, of how to let go of something that no longer serves you. Of something. Got it. So with the end of the year, everybody's thinking about this, whether you're actively thinking about it because you're doing this kind of work or you're having this kind of conversation, or you're thinking about it subconsciously just because it is a subconscious energy of letting go because it's the end of the year. And so all I'm saying is that everybody's tension will be heightened this week. And then we close out the year with the the waning moon in Virgo. And Virgo likes to organize things. Virgo, with a waning moon, right? You have the Virgo organizing perfectionism, and you add to that the context of the waning moon, which is that's when you release. You don't necessarily release during the full moon. The full moon will illuminate what you may need or want or be called to release and let go, right? Banish from your life. And then you start doing the process of the shadow work to work through this letting go during the waning moon phase, which is the signs are there to aid you in the process of making sense of all of these things. And that's what I love about this conversation. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay. And then it's the new year. Ding, 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 ding. Next moon day. Do, 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 do. All right. So, shall we go to the full moon? Full moon in Cancer. Yeah. Question number 1, grab yourself a little piece of paper, write down the question so that you can journal. And if you're not going to journal because journaling is not for you, then really ponder these questions. Graciela, what do you mean by ponder? Okay. You're going to hear the question, pause it, and then think about it, and then come back and play it again. That's what pondering is. Just sit down with the question, really sit with it. And if it denotes an emotion, then you need to look through that, right? Don't just shove it in a drawer and leave it there. And if it makes you angry, or if you feel resistance to the question, then there's work to be done there, right? So full moon in Scorpio, last full moon of the year, wants you to target these things in your life. What is getting in the way of the magnification? That's very Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. What is getting in the way of the magnification of my gifts and my purpose? This question is geared not just to review what happened to your gifts and your purpose toward the end of the year. Where did you drop the ball when it comes to your gifts and your purpose that didn't allow for these things to magnify, to expand the way Sagittarius wants us to, right? And then now that you have addressed what is getting in the way, you're obviously, the next thing that automatically happens is figuring out, how do I get that going? If you want to get that going, right? Because if there's radical acceptance about the fact that, oh yeah, I had that goal and I just got over it, I moved on to something else, then own it. Stop thinking about it. Stop ruminating. Let that radical acceptance be the thought of, I accept this. I'm not going to think about it anymore in that way. Like, I'm not going to be going back and forth all the time about this. I've made a decision. It is what it is. And so it is. And you move on, right? That takes practice. So try it. Question number 2. What's being highlighted that I could identify and release? This is, right now on Moon Day with the moon in Gemini, on Christmas Day, coming from all of this commotion and from this weekend, you may not know what the full moon has illuminated for you yet. Or maybe it's something that the full moon illuminated for you, previous cycle. Maybe it's something that the new moon brought about as it was, waxing into the full moon. Only right? What is it that the full moon is going to illuminate for you this week, for you to identify and release? And then question number 3, how can I acknowledge and nurture a sense of belonging within myself? This is not a new question. You've heard me say this question before, because the moon in Cancer really wants you to nurture yourself. It really wants to acknowledge the emotions within. And then the moon in Cancer wants you to provide a safe space for these emotions to take place. When we feel what we feel and automatically go into frustration, anger, despair, these are all survival reactions. These are all your limbic system. These are all your lizard brain, your primitive brain, essentially reacting to the emotion or the thought that you're getting. But that's not your rational brain. So if you're staying in that feeling and you're not then moving into figuring out what the feeling is about, which may take a week, may take 2 weeks, may take a full lunar cycle for you to release something that the moon may illuminate today. These are important things to kind of discuss and bring up. What we talk about to release and to let go of in the full moon is not something that you let go of by just journaling and painting over it. It may take you a full cycle for you to be over something. And this is why I love to kind of bring up reminders sometimes when we do full moon and new moon conversations about how, if you are journaling about the same thing that you tried to release months ago, then journal again. However many cycles it takes for you to release, if you're releasing or if you have the intention to release, it will happen. It just will, right? Because that's just the way it is. So, question number 3. That's it. How can I acknowledge and nurture a sense of belonging within myself? See, the thing about belonging is that as a highly sensitive empath, ADHDer, autistic, ADHDer, which is autism and ADHD in the same person, very common as well, or even just sensitive, or even just human, you may struggle with a sense of belonging with the people at work, with the people in your life. At the end of the day, we're all absolutely unique. There is not one other like you. So to think that you're going to go into a group and find somebody just like me, I want to just find somebody just like me so that we can belong, and then everything will be just fine and peachy. And that's just not so. So to transform the idea, to transform that belief ruled by Mercury into, I want to do whatever it takes to belong to myself. What does that mean for myself? What does that look like? For me, Graciela, right? I know I generalize and I act out a lot of scenarios here, but right now I'm talking about myself. For me, Graciela, for me to belong to myself, I need freedom over my walls. I want to be able to put whatever I want up on my walls. And my husband can put whatever he wants up in his studio. And I mean, right, with certain boundaries of just common decency, obviously. But that's his studio, that's his space. And of course, the common areas I like to decorate in a way that is tasteful and inviting for everyone involved, so family oriented. And then in our room, all of the walls they all have something that reflects not just my taste, but who I am and what I need to see, like signs that say hope in them, right? And getting into the deeper question of what is it that about this sign that makes Sid belong on this spot and makes Sid belong in my room and makes Sid belong with me, even though it's a cheap sign, right? That's what the beauty of asking questions is all about. And so I put this hope sign here where I do all of my coaching, where I do all of my interviews, and where we do this conversation, because hope is integral for me in my content creation. You just never know what you will find. Actually, on day 2 of Mercury retrograde, I had a hater right here on YouTube who said a nasty comment that I obviously didn't respond to because I don't sweat the haters. I just delete your comment and I move on, literally. But I still read it, right? And I still made note of how predictable somebody would express their hate during Mercury retrograde, which obviously reflects a projection of a frustration that they have. It doesn't reflect my frustrations, but to create content and to just show up consistently, it does take a lot of hope. There's a lot on the line, and there's a lot that goes into creating all of this, right? So hope is always here. How do you belong to yourself? Another way that you can belong to yourself, or to practice what belonging to yourself looks like, is wearing the things that you want to wear despite anybody else's opinion. Of course, you may go to work and have a specific dress code that's understandable, but at home and on your free time and to go see your friends, I've been in situations where I'm going out with friends for brunch or a meeting, which is usually food, but we're end up talking for 2 hours, or even coaching in person, right? And I'll be grabbing, like thinking, like, what am I going to wear? Thinking about this person I'm going to see. And then basing my picking up my outfit on that person. What? I mean, it's okay to do it for your spouse or your partner, but I'm not going to pick a blouse on your favorite color to wear to please you while we go have a friendly lunch. I want to honor myself and belong to myself and please myself in those ways, right? So that's a clear example of how to do it. Is I'm going to wear what I want. And for people like myself who grew up bullied a lot about style choices, or I guess style choices is the way we would call it, to be almost 39 and to finally look at, a t-shirt with butterflies and say, I don't care, I'm just going to wear this on Christmas Day. And this is festive to me because I love this shirt. And like, to think that is the first time I got away with wearing a t-shirt for Christmas and not be dressed up, that's major. It's like giving myself permission to be comfortable in my own home, right? Giving myself permission to wear something that I enjoy, despite the fact that there's a holiday where most people get all dressed up for, so on and so forth. And so that's how belonging to myself looks like, as kind of a big concept to think about. What does it look like to you? What are the thoughts that come about when you think, do I belong to myself? And how do I express that? How do I honor my authenticity, right? That's the other side of belonging to yourself. And if you're neurodivergent, then the point of belonging to yourself is for you to unmask. That's it. I have to pause there, right? Because masking and unmasking are pretty big deals when it comes to neurodivergence. And so belonging to yourself is unmasking and giving yourself permission to feel all the things, and to rest when you need to rest, and to say no when you need to say no. Honor your boundaries. That's how you belong to yourself. So that's the biggest question I feel like for this full moon in Cancer. And then in our book, which look at this, we're done with the book. Oh my gosh, we've done all of this already. What a year it's been. In my book, we have waxing gibbous that wants you to speak your truth. So don't forget to do that this week. And if you're not going to speak it, then journal it, because there might be something there that will be illuminated for you to let go of, for you to just say no to. Not anymore. I'm done, right? And we have affirmations for every moon day and for the full moon. So the affirmation for this week, which is you only see it in the book on Moon Day, but my hope is that you practice the affirmation every day, right? I trust the inspiration to speak my desires, beliefs, and needs. Now, here's the thing. This affirmation comes with a warning, I feel like. Mercury is retrograde, which means all communication is askewed. And that also means the communication between your mind and your body, and the communication, kind of like the journey of words between your brain and your mouth and how you articulate those things. So how does that show up? It shows up in bickering. It shows up in moody fits, like a comment here and there, right? When people say things between their teeth and it's like, what did you say? Why did you just call me? Right? And also in your desires, beliefs, and needs being communicated, but maybe not at the right time because you didn't really think it through, right? Let's look at who we are communicating with and what do they have going on. They're also going through the Mercury retrograde. They also have their communication askewed. So these are all the things to consider when you're dealing with people, which is 100% of the time, right? And so if your desires, beliefs, and needs are just not well thought out, then they won't communicate, they won't translate the way that you probably hope. So if you really want to affirm that you trust the inspiration to speak your desires, beliefs, and needs, then there has to be some pondering happening before you speak your truth. So that's food for thought for this week. How does that resonate? And then the affirmation for the full moon is my heightened emotions, which you will feel absolutely this week. You probably already are guiding me to deep introspection and important self-discovery. Now, why is it important to affirm something like that? I feel like it's important to affirm such things like what I feel is guiding me to a better tomorrow, because it sets the tone for acceptance. I accept the way that I feel. I honor my body in the way that I feel, even if you don't say it in those words. Your awareness is magic, right? And that's one of my favorite quotes from Deepak Chopra. Awareness is magic. So when you bring your awareness to that deep introspection and your feelings through it, then you're in that space. You're sitting with your emotions, even if you don't think to yourself, I'm just going to sit here and see how this goes. So to be able to affirm that you are being introspective and that you are being guided to self-discovery, then you will discover something. There will be something in that introspection for you to discover, because that is just the way it beautifully transpires when you shed light on things. And that's what this full moon is doing. So Emma Reedy is here. I'm so excited that you're here and that you're with the book. Oh my gosh, isn't it so beautiful? It is so beautiful. I am so grateful and so excited. Let me discuss some of the differences now that you have the book, so that you know that you got the best version so far. Because right now, next year you get, so in this year's book, it says Moon Day and then Moon Day on both sides. But next year's book has the actual moon phase with the symbol of where the moon is. So this one is a waxing gibbous in Cancer. So you have that. That's one of the differences. Aside from the fact that all of the pages are bigger. All of the pages are bigger. It also has all of the seasons disclosed. So the spring equinox and Aries season starts right there. So everything is highlighted. And then every full moon and new moon, just little things that I did. I added the zodiac sign as well on every full moon. This one is a lunar eclipse happening on March 25th. And either the constellation or a little design that I added. And so next year's book, it is just so much more profound with those little things, right? Like bigger pages. Yes, please, because I don't write as small as I let you see sometimes in social media. Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Sometimes I'm just, unmasking. And when I'm unmasking, I may not want to write really neat and cute because for who, right? Like, why do I need to just write so carefully? If I'm unmasking, I may just, this is how I want to write, right? And so bigger pages just means more self-expression. And I'm so excited. Emma, thank you so much. Cheers to you with my Moon Magic and Mindfulness mug. I'm just so excited. And this will be next Moon Day. Hello, Adam. Welcome. Merry Christmas to all. I am so grateful for you. So happy that you have also partaken. You have partaken of this journey all year long. And I'm just so proud of you for putting in the work. Adam is one of the people that would send me pictures of his painting and what he would journal. And Emma is one of the original Moon Magic and Mindfulness attendees because Emma used to be with us when this was a private conversation on Zoom that you all had to pay for. So thank you for showing up, Emma, then and now, because now we get to paint together. And I no longer paint while we are live because I like to paint on a little reel that, right, I record. But I do like to check in. So I hope that you allow me to check in the new year so that we can keep that accountability going, right? Like it's not just about me keeping you accountable, is that all of you keep me in check as well. I show up for you, not just for myself. So I'm so excited and so grateful. Yes. Oh my gosh. So let's review, everybody, because if you're right now in the comments and you just showed up, I have the saddest news that I started early because I was pacing, I was impatient, and I had nothing else to do but do the show. But it was only 8:15. So I waited until about 8:30 something, and I went ahead and I started the show because it has been a long weekend and I do want to get to bed. But let's review because this week is a big deal. So I want to hear I want to know in the comments how this resonates, but we're ending the week with a beautiful full moon in Cancer right at the end of the year. So what is what's coming up for you, right? End of the year implies old, out with the old, in with the new, new year, new me. And what does that mean? If it's a new you, then what are you leaving behind? What comes up when you ask yourself that question? And the full moon, if you don't know what you need to let go of, then the full moon happening on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on where you are in the world, will illuminate it. Now, a big kind of reminder that I shared earlier that I will be sharing in my social media is that you don't necessarily release during the full moon. And this is why sometimes I'll post the video of myself painting 2 or 3 days after the full moon or the new moon happen. And the reason why I do that is because the full moon will illuminate what is it that you need help with, but you spend the waning portion of the cycle, which is essentially 2 whole weeks leading up to the new moon, releasing and figuring out what actions need to happen in order to really nip that in the butt. What pattern do I need to organize in order to bring this to be, which is the letting go? What does my life, excuse me, I have a hair in my mouth. That's funny. Okay. What does my life look like? once I let go of this fully, peace and quiet, more time for myself, like what, right? Bring those things to light. You bring them to light by bringing your awareness to them, by bringing them up to the table just to see, right? And ending the year with Mercury retrograde is all about reviewing. How was my year? What were the highlights? What were the lowlights? Lowlights are just important as highlights, if not more important. Oh, and one of the things that I wanted to bring up is that, the cover of the book says that it's the only journal you need to make and nurture plans, avoid burnout, and create fearlessly. But I should have added here that this is the one journal you need for shadow work. We do shadow work just by bringing up these conversations. Any time you spend in self reflection is shadow work. So we don't, Merry Christmas, Cecilia. Welcome. We don't just do shadow work because it's a new moon and it's the dark side of the moon. If that's what you've been told, no. Shadow work is done anytime you spend in self-reflection. So essentially, we do shadow work here weekly, every moon day, when we sit down to talk about it and to sit down to kind of figure out how to anticipate the things so that we can better prepare for what is coming. And then we also review. So we're doing shadow work as we speak. If an affirmation makes you feel a certain way and then you want to internalize and intellectualize and figure out with your thinking brain why an affirmation makes you feel a certain way, that's shadow work. You are actually employing self-reflection. So we do shadow work all year. And so I'm on the train, so I'll cut off in a sec. But yay, Cecilia, she's on the train. Just thank you for being here. And thank you for a wonderful year of friendship, wisdom shared, insights, laughter, celebrations, and lots of kudos. So kudos to you for being here and for sharing. It's been so beautiful, right? And here we are at the end of the year already. Because time flies. And it's not just when you're having a good time that it flies. I feel like time flies the older you get, right? It really goes by. And also, I've noticed that time really goes by really fast since I've had this book. And it's like every day, what do I have going on? Oh, look, it's already another day. Oh, look, it's already another moon day. Oh, another full moon. Here we go. Let's get to work, right? So this full moon will bring up a lot. Mercury retrograde has already brought up a lot of grief. So how are you doing with grief? My subscribers received a 5-page handout on what is grief, how does it show up, and most importantly, I like to keep things kind of nuanced. So we all know, or a lot of us know, what it's like to lose someone that we love, but we lose things all the time. We lose opportunities. We say no to things and then regret it. That's a grief, right? You have to then deal with the regret that you're grieving what you didn't do or what you said no to, right? So grief is just all encompassing when you put it in a specific light. And so in this handout, we talked about what it feels like to kind of prepare and get excited and then go through the process of interviewing for a job that you kind of think it's in the bag, and then you don't get it. Raise your hand if you've been there. Raise 2 hands if you've been there more than once, right? How many times have you put so much thought and effort into something and then zip? No, it's not happening. You have to sit with that discomfort and allow yourself a pity party. That's a grieving moment, right? The pity party that we throw ourselves is a moment of grief. And so Mercury retrograde has been bringing that up, I would say, for the past 2 weeks already, or 1 week and a half. And we're going to end the year with that. And starting the year with Mercury retrograde, starting a new year with Mercury retrograde is what makes it feel kind of a slow start. So next week, we will talk about the fact that we may not feel like it's a new year, new me, let's go, let's do it. We may feel more of Yeah, I'm kind of tired, slowing down, Mercury retrograde. I'm kind of indecisive about how to move forward, Mercury retrograde. I'm just a little insecure about where I am in my life right now, even though the year is starting, everything just feels kind of the same. Mercury retrograde, right? Let's not forget that the Gregorian calendar has absolutely no connection to anything really happening in much of nature other than we have the new year right after the solstice. So it's like, I don't know, two bookends. But at the end of the day, the year kind of really kickstarts Aries season on January. Look, we're going to look on 2024 book to see when Aries season starts. Because the zodiac is not done until March. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it's like we have this new year, new me, new opportunities for growth on January 1st. But if you don't feel it, if that's not your mood, if you're not really into it because of everything else that's happening, right? Literally, the grief from December 25th is still pretty fresh on December 31st, right? Like that's just a week. And so then you get another opportunity to kind of jump start your clock or restart with that real fire within, the umph that allows you to kind of get going on Aries season, which is the 20th of March. And in the new book, you have all of that information right there. Spring equinox. I'm so excited and looking forward to it. So this week, quick review before we go into our meditation. This week we start with the moon in Gemini, very talkative. Do you hear me? I haven't shut up since I started. Very talkative, very family oriented holidays, right? So beautiful when things just really align in that way. And then we go into Cancer, which is the moon is at home in Cancer. The moon wants to be nurtured. And so remember, while you're in your emotions during this full moon, to really comfort yourself. So what food really comforts you that is not junk food? Of course, let's stay on the healthy side. What can you do to really nurture your soul and your body? Maybe that's a warm bath because you take showers every day, and during the full moon in Cancer, you want to take a bath. Well, there you go. That will feel very nurturing and will make you feel good. Cancer is a water sign. If you have your moon in Cancer, like myself, then you will feel right at home in a bathtub or at the beach, right? Or in the pool. And so think about those things. Where do I just feel completely at ease and at peace? If the answer is under my covers, just relaxing with the TV on, then when you're grieving, when the moon is illuminating things that make you uncomfortable, don't just decide that today is the day I need to deal with this. Sit with it and then move into the waning 2 weeks and then see, right? See, this is why we have a last quarter right after the full moon. It starts waning. And then when it's halfway, that's the last quarter moon. And the last quarter moon is kind of that checkpoint between what the full moon illuminated and the waning, allowing you to do that shadow work. And then that last quarter moon allows you for a checkpoint so that you decide, all right, what exactly needs to be done? Because I want my ground to be fertile and ready for that new moon that happens a week after that last quarter. So these are the things to consider. And then after Cancer, we have Leo, the moon in Leo, Friday and Saturday. So I did talk about that, the fact that Leo is a fire sign, and ending the year with a moon in Leo just sounds very stressful to me. So mind the road rage just because people are proud and everybody's right in their own mind. And Mercury is retrograding. So people who normally don't hunk might hunk during Mercury retrograde because things are just not translating, right? And so remember to be kind. Remember to practice self-compassion and compassion to others. So you don't need to say any snide comments. If you have nothing good to say, then you say nothing, right? That really, it takes time and practice to kind of just keep your mouth quiet when you want to just say something. So how does that show up for you? Who does it show up for, right? In your life. And then we end the year with a beautiful waning moon in Virgo, just in time to organize our life for the new moon. And by then it'll be new moon day, next moon day, and we will have a brand new book to start. And I'm so grateful. And again, so freaking excited. Give yourself a round of applause because what a year this has been. I am so epically proud for the people that stay in touch with me, and we get to celebrate all of these things. My followers, the people I follow. Oh my gosh, what a year, really. Since 2022, the connections that I have made are all really people who are either moms with special needs kids, or therapists and coaches for special needs kids, or people who are all in the journey of getting coached or doing the work on their own. And it's just such a great place to be. These are, I feel like, great points of reference for me to continue to go back to, right? That's one way. I'm going to talk about the examples, but look out for that. So in my content this week, I want to provide with maybe 2 or 3. Don't hold me to that. I may show up with just one, but a few examples of what letting go or releasing looks like. I feel like when we say the word release, we always think about crying, but if I bring up some examples, you might kind of hopefully understand how simple it can really be. So we will talk about it on my content. So either TikTok or Instagram. All of the links are in my description. So head on there. Are you ready? Are you ready to just relax and chill? Because we are going into our meditation. Oh, and I said I was going to sing. So if you're still in the comments, I would love to sing. I wanted to sing Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. But I am excited to share it. So here it goes. Let me know how I do. It's a very short song, so this is kind of awkward, and it's a cappella, obviously, but here it goes. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Make the Yuletide gay. From now on, our troubles will be miles away. Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are dear to us, gather near to us once more. Through the years we all will be together, if the fates allow. Hang a shining star up on the highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Yay! Thank you so much for coming. I'm so grateful. Oh my gosh. And thank you for listening to that, because, oh my goodness, me singing a cappella, just my favorite Christmas song, because that's the easiest one that comes to my head when I want to sing a Christmas song. But let's meditate, everybody. I know emotions and excitement is really high up in the sky, but let's just bring it down, ground and center, just in time to close out a beautiful, joyous, and hopefully filled with love weekend for us. So nice and centered. Music for this meditation is brought to you by Brain FM. You can find a free trial and a discount code in the link in my bio. Brain FM is music for your brain to do what you want it to do, whether it's meditating, reading, unwinding, or doing deep focus work. So, what is your neurological need for sound? Whatever it is, Brain FM has it. So, take a moment to relax, center your body. If you need to, wiggle on your seat or stretch. If you're driving, do not close your eyes. But if you can, close your eyes. And if you're neurodivergent and you don't like to close your eyes, then don't. You can meditate with your eyes open. Just try to focus on the same spot. And then focus on it enough that everything blurs. And see how that does for you if you don't like to close your eyes. Breathing nice and slow, gentle breaths. We're about to do some deep breaths, so just follow my lead as I walk you through this breath work and quick visualization. So deep breath in through your nose. Deep, deep, deep breath in, nice and slow. We're not in a hurry. Hold your breath at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale through your mouth. Nice and slow. Exhale all the way till you have no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale inside again. One more time through your nose. Deep breath through your nose. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale through your mouth. Nice and slow. All the way till you have no air. Hold it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax. And as you relax and you just settle into this moment with your breath nice and slow, I want you to imagine the most beautiful tree you have ever seen. Doesn't have to be a Christmas tree. Any tree. What tree comes to mind when I say the most beautiful tree I have ever seen? And as you lift up your chin to look up ahead at that giant specimen that takes your breath away with its beauty, with its strength, with its depth in the ground and strength, I want you to breathe in the safety and the pride and the assurance that come from being a strong and steady and lively tree. In this season of release and renewal, what are your core strengths? What are the things about your personality that you can really rely on to get you through this difficult time of grief, of release, of living? And what pride to remind yourself that despite everything this year, here you are, standing tall in front of this beautiful tree. with me. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Deep breath in all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out through your mouth. Long breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again through your nose. Deep inhale, deep, deep, deep. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale with your mouth. Long, extended exhales till you have no air. Hold it once more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And relax. And as you relax, remember or repeat these affirmations. I trust the inspiration to speak my desires, beliefs, and needs. My heightened emotions are guiding me to deep introspection and self-discovery. I am ready to let go of what no longer serves me and to grow into a stronger person for it. I am loved. I am safe. I am so grateful. With me, take one last breath in through your nose. Deep breath in. Make it a good one. Deep, deep, deep breath in. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale nice and slow through your mouth. Long breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And very last one. Deep inhale through your nose. Deep, deep, deep. Fill your lungs all the way. If you're laying down, it's a belly breath. If you're sitting or standing, it's a chest breath. Just feel yourself lift up. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. Last time through your mouth. Long, slow exhale. Nice and slow. And as you relax into your exhale, center and focus on the present moment. Bring your awareness back to your body. Wiggle your toes, stretch your back, and open your eyes and come back to me. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support and kindness and comments and your presence. It is such a gift to share this conversation with you. And if you bought the book, I'm so grateful for you. Remember, the PDF version for you to print out on your own terms is also available. All you have to do is request it in the comments, and I will send you an invoice, and I will send you the PDF for you to print on your own time. If you would like to receive the monthly PDFs, then become a Patreon subscriber. The link is in my bio. And for $5 a month, literally for less than a coffee at Starbucks, you get a meditation that you get to keep, a handout like the one about grief, and the PDF version of the month to month so that you print it every month. And I'm just so excited that we get to start this. What does it mean to start? Let me open the book and show you. I'll be sharing this week the reviews. I have 3 reviews that I have included here. But, initial notes, special dates, contacts. Then there's a few examples on how to use the book. But we start January with important dates and, of course, with the manifestations for the month. And then we start the year on Monday, but not before we celebrate Ron's birthday. So let's not all forget that Ron's birthday is in 3 days. So if you know Ron, make sure that you message him and say, happy birthday. thank you all again. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week. Brace yourself for all the emotions that may arise. And remember that I'm here for you. We can bounce ideas around and figure out how best to accommodate your needs or help, and how best to figure it out together. I love my work. I love, love, love my work. So I hope that that really comes across, because I really just love to get this work done. It's just so beautiful to see like how we all grow together when we're having the same conversation. It's just so beautiful. So thank you again. Thank you for this gift that you give me every week by showing up. And I love you. I will see you next year. I'll see you next year. Bye.